Hello, welcome back to Blenderian Bracelet. In this episode, I want to share the breakdown of my creations. I call this like a Blenderian bracelet, but it's actually just something that's pretty random. I came up with this. It's it's actually pretty simple. If you look closely, they're all just a bunch of circle. If I draw it, okay, circle over a circle over a circle. Each one of them is rotating slightly randomly, and each of the circle is being swept or lofted with some kind of circle, so it's becoming like a donut, but it's more like a, I don't know, like a trumpet. I don't know, but yeah, let's quickly take a look how I created this. So they're currently kind of like meshed together like a single sculpture with some kind of details. I'm using a fancy matte cap, but I can just replace it with something normal, but I like the fancy one. Okay, this was because I'm using this distribute points on instance and turn it into some kind of volumetric similar to SDF, but it's just on the surface. I don't need to do this realize instance and all kind of random distribution of points, but it makes it gives some details along the surface. The actual surface itself is it's a little bit more like a ring. Look, it's looking like a trumpet at the moment because the way I make the radius over here. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but it's probably interesting, and it's kind of like a recap of what we've been doing in the previous videos. But I did something new here. I think it's a rotate instance, and yeah, rotate instance is quite new in recent geometry nodes field. So let's take a look. I have this circle, mesh circle, that I use for instancing. Okay, and there's this instance object which is just a bunch of curve. Let me reduce the number, or like simplify the idea. I'm using circle so it looks like a bracelet, but I can just use a simple mesh line, and yeah, okay, it's a bit, I don't know, I wonder why it's going that way. Maybe because of the rotations. Okay, yeah, should be, yeah, this is much clearer. Okay, let's save this. So we have a bunch of rings connected together. It's become bracelet, and the rings itself is based on these numbers, mesh line. So let's reduce this into smaller numbers. You can see now. And so that's instancing the actual rings. Okay, so let's take a look at the ring itself and then back to instancing. So the ring is being rotated based on the index. And this is also new, quite a new node. So I'm using rotate Euler and the normal, and rotating each one of the instance. If I didn't do that, here I'm already also rotating the ring using the index and the map range. Okay, this one, let me reset everything. So we have 5 rings, and for each rings I want to rotate it slightly, and I'm using map range. I simply plug it into the rotations, but it's probably a better idea if I use combine XYZ and then plug this into the Z like that. Yeah, this makes more sense. So the index here is looking at the instance, the number of instance. So if we have like 10 instance, I'm rotating the ring 360 degree. If I actually use 2 times pi, it's rotating 180 degrees. I think that's what it's doing, if it's reading the instance properly. There we go. Right, so this is important. This is quite new nodes. Rotate instance and rotate instance within the local space, and also rotating the instance as a whole. This is gonna be useful and really interesting when we start to put this guy along another path. For now, it's just a weird looking thing that we rotate based on the index. Okay, so because we have 24 points here, now if I have 24 points here based on the ring mesh circle, we're gonna have bracelet that's being rotated 360 degree based on the index. Okay, so that's I think that should be pretty clear. On top of this, I also have this rotate Euler and the normal. I'm trying to align the curve along the path, but I think I might just randomize the object, but I can use the curve tilt or something. Tangent, curve tangent. Plug this into the vector. This might be what you want. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't seem to work, and I think we might need to capture attributes or something. I'm just gonna leave it there. It's a little bit confusing right now, so I just want to have like some kind of bracelet, right? So what we are instancing, again, let's go back to this guy. This guy over here is also another story. It's basically a ring. So let's reduce the number to 5, and let's take a look at the ring. The ring itself, or the donuts, is made up of 2 circles combined together with curve to mesh. Get rid of that. So I can control the ring here, and for the other one, we can also control it using the radius here. What's interesting, however, is I'm using curve parameter and then this float curve to control the thickness. And map the range. Oh, anyway, you can do whatever you like here with the number to control the radius. Before then, I lofted using another curve, this donut. Okay, so if we actually change the number, it's probably a little bit clearer. There, I just intentionally make it so it's looking like a ring, like a two trumpet connecting with each other, sort of. Anyway, so that's just a simple lofting. It's basically a donut, really. Not if I didn't use this fancy curve parameter, if I just disconnect that, it's just a donut. And the donut, even the donut itself, I've done something. I've done something crazy here. It's I'm using a circle, and then I actually use this offset noise that's been adjusted with minus 0.5, so it's normalized, and I can control the noise. This is the offset of the noise texture, and then I subdivide it, right? yeah, it's kind of interesting when you started with a original geometry, and then you can resample it here. It's adding detail, but it's using this number anyway with the noise. So there's a lot of things happening, even though it's just originally it's simple, but I just keep adding stuff. That's why it's becoming more and more complicated. But I can always mute a lot of things using M and see what's going on. So it's basically just like a donut, just a fancy looking donut, because we add this thing, scale it. Let's enable the noise back. Boom. Okay, set position, subdivide, set curve radius. So it's becoming the ring. Each of the ring is actually the same, and then I just instance it and rotate it randomly. And this is using mesh line. If I'm just using like a random, so this is turning it back into like a bracelet. If I am using noise texture and then randomize the position, I'm gonna end up with something completely random, and it's becoming some kind of art or something. And currently they are all separated, but again, we can do something fancy here. Just mesh everything into a single point, so it's becoming like a sculpture. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. I know. We can use input geometry, group input. I will give you this blend. We can further add randomizations, like this is just an idea with the W. Okay, so we can have two different things, change the W. We have two different art now. Let's do another one. Connect this into the W, another W. So we have two W to randomize our ring, or like it's actually just like a rubber bands connected together into some kind of bracelet. It's nothing too fancy. If we actually using the asset browser, this is still kind of work in progress, I think. So don't be too crazy with this. We have these weird rings. We can right click, mark as assets, so it goes inside our assets here somewhere. Yeah, actually I want to put it here. It's currently inside this current file, but anyway, we can bring this in. Each one of them can have different parameter. Okay, all right, so that's basically the ideas, and you can connect things like that because it's assets. It's a pretty, you can do this snapping to the surface. It's a bunch of really weird rubber bands created using geometry nodes. Just this simple setup. So to recap everything, it's two circles connected together to create a donut, and then I just randomize the donut using noise and also using this float curve, and then I instant the donuts using another circle, randomize the circle using noise. Yeah, I don't actually need to do that. I can skip that. So it's becoming just a circle. back to the circle, and it's more like a bracelet, rubber bands or something, and I just randomizing it. And then after I randomize the rotations, I use the volumetrics, and I think this is the slowest part, because I'm using a lot of voxel just to merge everything together. Boom, okay. Originally it's just like a rubber band looking donuts. Maybe I should just call it a rubber band. But anyway, it's the whole process is what's interesting, and you will learn a lot simply by studying this, hopefully. So it's otherwise just weird looking rings connected together. Now it's becoming an asset. Alright, so hopefully this is useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.